thrinned, howled like a hungry wolf, a white fury tearing across the Montana plains. Every gust was a fresh assault, driving needles of ice and snow into any exposed patch of skin. For most, this blizzard was a death sentence, a reason to huddle by the fire and pray for dawn. But for Jedediah, it was just another Tuesday. He'd been tracking a stray longhorn for 2 days, and the storm had caught him miles from the relative comfort of his line shack. He pulled his hat down low, the brim stiff with ice, and squinted into the blinding white his horse. Old Clementine whinnied nervously beneath him, her breath pluming in thick, frosty clouds. That's when he saw it. A flicker of color against the endless white, not the brown of a lost steer, but something else. Something dark. He nudged Clementine forward, his curiosity wrestling with the instinct to turn back. As he drew closer, the shape resolved itself. It was a person, half buried in a snowdrift, a splash of deep red and turquoise against the stark canvas of the blizzard. Dismounting, the snow crunched under his boots, the depths surprising him. He waded through the drift and knelt. It was a woman, an Apache woman, judging by her buckskin dress and the intricate beadwork, now dusted with snow. Her face, framed by long black hair, was pale, her lips tinged with blue. She was unconscious, her breathing shallow, almost imperceptible. A small, fringed pouch was clutched in her frozen hand. He knew, with a certainty that chilled him more than the wind, that if he left her, she would be gone before the storm passed. There was no debate in his mind. He couldn't leave her to the elements. He checked her for any obvious injuries, but found none. It was the cold, the brutal, unforgiving cold, that was her enemy, sheer. He looked back at Clementine, then at the woman. His line shack was at least 10 miles south. Carrying her on horseback in this blizzard was risky. If she fell, he might not find her again. No. There was only one way. Gently, he pried the pouch from her fingers and tucked it safely inside his own coat. Then, with a grunt of effort, he scooped her into his arms, shoes, lighter than he expected, but a dead weight nonetheless. He adjusted his hold, trying to shield her face from the biting wind with his own body. Every step was a struggle. The snow was deep, and the wind fought him relentlessly, trying to tear her from his grasp. He couldn't see more than a few feet ahead, navigating by instinct and a faint prayer. He talked to her as he walked, his words snatched away by the gale. "Hang on now," he muttered, his voice raspy. "Just a little further. We're gonna make it. Name's Jedediah. You're safe now." Heeding note. If she could hear him, if she was even alive. But he had to believe she was. He had to give himself a reason to keep moving, to put one frozen boot in front of the other. Ours bled into a timeless agony. The world was nothing but white wind and the burning in his muscles. His arms screamed in protest, his back ached, and his legs felt like lead. He stumbled, falling to one knee, the impact jarring through his body. He almost let her go, but his grip held firm. He looked down at her face, now almost completely shielded by his coat. A flicker of movement. Her eyelids. There was barely anything, but it was enough. It was a sign. He gritted his teeth and pushed himself back up. "See, told you we'd make it," he gasped, though he knew they were still miles away. The snow was getting deeper, the wind more ferocious. Clementine followed behind, a silent, steady shadow in the chaos. Too, he pressed on, his focus narrowed to a single primal goal: survival, not just his own, but hers too. This stranger, this Apache woman he'd found in the heart of a killer storm. As twilight began to bleed into the white, turning the world a ghostly shade of blue, he saw it. A dark shape, barely visible through the swirling snow. A smudge of smoke, rising weakly into the storm. His shack, a wave of relief so powerful it almost buckled his knees, washed over him. He'd made it. They'd made it. With the last of his strength, he staggered the final 100 yards, his legs screaming with every step. He kicked the door open and stumbled inside, the sudden warmth and stillness a shock to his system. Kerr fearfully laid the woman down on the rough cot by the hearth, her body still frighteningly cold. He didn't rest. He worked quickly, stoking the embers in the fireplace until a healthy blaze roared to life, pushing back the gloom. He gently removed her frozen outer garments, his hands clumsy with cold. He covered her with every blanket he owned, piling them high. He then went back outside. Latu, leading a grateful Clementine into the small lean-to attached to the shack, giving her a double ration of oats. Back inside, the warmth was beginning to fill the small space. He sat by the cot, watching the woman, waiting. He brewed a broth on the fire, the simple smell of salt and herbs filling the room. He didn't know her name or where she came from. He only knew that on a day when the world had tried to erase them both, they had found each other. And for now, that was enough. As he watched the steady, albeit slow, rise and fall of her chest, he felt a strange sense of peace settle over him. The storm still raged outside, a wild and untamed beast. But inside the small cabin, there was a fragile warmth, a flicker of hope that had been carried for miles through the snow. He pulled the small beaded pouch from his pocket, placing it on the small table beside her. He'd ask her about it when she woke up. For now, all he could do was wait for the blizzard to pass and for the stranger in his home to return from the brink. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story of survival and humanity in the Old West, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more tales from the frontier. We'll see you next time.